So I remember driving to the funeral home to see my husband. He died up in Meninganue, so it'd been a while since he was home, so he'd finally got home, and I went to see him at the funeral home. And I remember sitting in the car and listening to Vision on the way. My parents drove me, and I just remember feeling so comforted and feeling God so tangibly that day that it really helped strengthen me and get me through that really traumatic experience.
And we've got a wonderful family member on the phone, Neil.
We do, and Rebecca is in Albany in WA. Hey, Rebecca, welcome along.
Oh, thank you. Nice to be here.
Rebecca, I've got a little note here. Somebody gave you a Bible with a message, listen to Vision Radio. Give us the story there.
Yeah, so it was a bit over 10 years ago now. I was actually gifted a Bible by a dear friend of mine. I was starting to rediscover my faith after about 15 years being apart from God. I was struggling to read my Bible, so my father-in-law, who was very strong in his faith, came to help me, and he wrote in the front, Vision Christian Radio 87.6, and that really stuck with me, and he said, just listen to it all the time, in the car, at home, and so I did, and it was, just...
And timely, because you were going through a time in your life. And we all go through these sorts of times, but this was important for you because there was a number of people who were very close to you that you were losing.
Yeah. So about 6 months after I started listening to Vision, I lost my husband. He passed away suddenly in a work accident. So I was left a widow at 28 with a 6-year-old and a 2-year-old. And so that was... really, really challenging time. But I remember what's great about Vision is that it's church 24/7. So it's not just Sunday morning, it's all week long. So I remember driving to the funeral home to see my husband. He died up in Meninganue, so it'd been a while since he was home, so he'd finally got home, and I went to see him at the funeral home. And I remember sitting in the car and listening to Vision on the way. My parents drove me, and I just remember feeling so comforted and feeling God so tangibly that day that it really helped strengthen me and get me through that really traumatic experience.
You know, I think there'll be a lot of listeners who can identify with the way you describe that, because oftentimes when we talk about the grief that we go through when we lose someone that we love, and we want to be able to appreciate what's so special about our faith in times when we're taken into the deepest, darkest valleys. And you've beautifully described God's strength in that time. How do you reflect on that? I mean, because it's not Vision that makes all that difference. It's God. He's the one who we talk about on Vision. So God in the midst of your darkness and the depth of your grief, how do you describe that?
It was just so comforting. He was just, I just felt the love, and I felt just not alone. Our scripture that really comes to mind is, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. And really, I couldn't have got through that period of time on my own. I needed Christ to walk alongside me and to carry me through that period.
Yeah, just an amazing story, and it's so touching for us, and I know for many of our listeners, and it's so encouraging to know that God's using Vision in people's darkest moments like you just described, and how it just brought you such a strength and encouragement. And I just want to thank you for being so honest and transparent about your journey. And I know your story's just encouraged a lot of people who support Vision and will support Vision in the future, that this is not just a radio station. This is not just an organisation that prints stuff. It's actually a ministry where the Holy Spirit's using us to touch people like you and your family.
Yeah, 100%. It's just the best.
Yeah, here's the thing: when you're in the middle, when life is going well, you can cruise along. But when life starts to fall apart, that's when you realise God is actually very real. He's very real and a very real comfort. And many people today are very isolated and alone, whether it's because of distance or just lonely. I mean, you can be lonely in a city and amongst a crowd. And together, through your support, we can bring them hope, encouragement and connection, just like has happened for Rebecca in her situation. So to give your tax-deductible donation or become a monthly giver, you can call 1-800-316 316. You can go to vision.org.au, or of course you can click the donate button on the free Vision Christian Media app.